The top stories this week are an Olympian on our campus, running for the top of MAC, kicking a goal at Monmouth University,
and hockey, hockey, hockey. This is the Rider Sports Corner.
Welcome to the first edition of Rider Sports Corner this year. I'm Patty Wittenberg.
And I'm Tom Malachi. Let's get right into the show. The 2008 Summer Games were full of excitement, achievement, and controversy. Well, a new story from the Games has emerged. What if Jamaican sprinter Usain Bolt didn't showboat at the end of his 100-meter dash? How fast could he have ran in it? According to a Norwegian physicist who ran tests to answer this question, his research indicates Bolt could have ran the 100-meter race in 9.55 seconds. Hans Eriksson works at the Institute of Theoretical Astrophysics at the University of Oslo and got the idea to research Bolt's speed after watching his convincing victory at the Summer Games. The research is not scientific fact, but will Bolt break his own record? The world will have to wait until the 2012 Olympics in London to see if Eriksson's research has any true findings.
Recently here at Rider, we were graced with the presence of another Olympic gold medalist, United States rower Caroline Lind. Jared Wood had a chance to meet up with her this past week.
This week, the Rider Sports Corner met with Olympic gold medalist Caroline Lind. Lind, a part of the U.S. Women's 8 rowing team, recently made it back from Beijing after winning gold.
It was definitely focus and determination. We have been working for a long time, for these games, and we just had to make sure that the same drive and fight that we've had for the past, 3 World Championships were carried over to the Olympics.
This was Caroline's first Olympic experience. She mentions that it's important to relax when competing in the Olympics, but no matter how hard you try, it is still nerve-wracking.
It was my first race at the Olympics and I was so nervous, and I definitely didn't row that race patiently or effectively. By the end I was dying. But for the final, I had to mentally prepare myself in a way for the race. I talked it down. I, reminded myself that I've done a million of these races and that I've learned how to row effectively and patiently through the small boats all year at the World Cups. And I really just relaxed and allowed myself to breathe through the first 1,000 and then kick it in the second 1,000.
Caroline filled us in on exactly how she felt as she and her teammates clinched the gold medal.
Satisfaction, joy, excitement, relief, just so many emotions ran through me, and I think it was across the whole boat these emotions were present, and it was just from the finish line to even after the medal stock, it was amazing.
This has been Jared Wood, the Rider Sports Corner.
Speaking of future Olympians, Rider had its men's and women's cross-country teams compete this past weekend at the Old Nassau Run in Princeton University. How did they do? Brian Persons has the story.
The cross-country teams went to compete at the Old Nassau Run, and I was there to catch up with Phil Capaldi before the race to ask him what kind of off-season preparations they did before the season.
Our team's a lot tighter. We have a smaller team. We train together. I know a lot of the boys ran together over the summer, and the preseason we had was really good. We got nice and close. We had 2 weeks pretty much to ourselves, so I enjoyed that.
Christian Gonzalez, a sophomore, was MAC Runner of the Week. He explained how it feels to have that kind of honor and what it translates to when it comes to the team.
Great, exciting, I'm proud of the team. We're pushing ourselves, move up in the ranks,
As the men's team started their warm-up run, the girls were ready for the race to begin. Freshman runner Heather Giovanoli was in the front of the Rider women from the start. She led the girls to an overall finish of 11th out of 13 teams competing in the race. Senior Meg Crow talked about what kind of impact a young runner of Heather's caliber can do for the rest of the team.
It's nice to have a girl who's going to be in the front, one of the front pack, can mix it up with some of the girls from the bigger schools. So I think it's awesome. It's a huge step forward for our team as a whole. And then it's just the girls, are 2 through 5. It's hard to just be a strong pack and try to mix it up too. But I I think it's awesome for us that we have a girl of that caliber on our team.
Chelsea Callan was able to tell us how important the tight pack formation they had during the race is going to be for future races.
As a team, I think we did very well today. We just wanted to try to get more of a group, our 1 through 7 together as a pack more, and we did that very well today. We had a close spread, and that looks well for the future.
The men went off at 11:15 in the morning and decided to tell the rest of the teams who they were before the race. Then the race began. Again, another underclassman was in the lead of the race for a rider team, this time Christian Gonzalez. He stayed in the front of the pack with the big schools who were competing at the Old Nassau Run and finished 11th out of the 99 runners that were in the meet. Matt Dahl, the captain of the men's squad and only senior of the team, gave his expectations for this season.
So if we have to hold that number 3 spot, that's how I feel, and get close to number 2. And on a good day, you never know what happens. I mean, if some of us are feeling better, we could take down Marist, and that'd be a great thing. So I'd say top 3 in terms of the MAC. And then when you get to the regional, we were 14th last year, and that was a huge step in the right direction for this program. And I don't think we could be saying anything less than top 12 this year. And I think everybody's focused on that, and I really think we can get it as long as we keep working hard.
Reporting from the Old Nassau Run, it's Brian Persons for Rider Sports Corner.
Where is the Rutgers football team? Don't ask the 45,000 fans who attended the game against North Carolina Tar Heels, as many of them were gone by the end of the third quarter. The Scarlet Knights were pummeled by North Carolina 44-12 at home on a nationally televised game and are off to their worst start since 2002 when they finished the season 1-11. This was the Tar Heels' biggest win since the 52-17 victory over Duke in 2001 and their first victory outside of North Carolina since 2002.
Rutgers will need to turn their season around and fast. With a program that turned a corner a few years ago, the students, alumni, and fans want to see the Rutgers team of a few seasons ago when they were nationally ranked. Rutgers now goes on the road to play Navy, who is 1-2.
Going from the college ranks to the pros, the New York Jets were looking for a kicker after Mike Nugent was injured in Miami in Week 1 and unable to continue. Although rare to see a kicker unable to finish a game, it is uncommon for teams to not usually have a backup plan. Usually when a kicker goes down, the punter will take over kicking duties, except if you're the Jets. The Jets said the reason punter Ben Graham did not take over for the kicking duties was because he had very little success in attempting field goals and kickoffs in practice. The Jets had a backup quarterback Kellen Clemens attempt to kick in the game, and safety Kerry Rhodes, while practicing on the sidelines, almost put the ball into the stands. Even Brett Favre was asked if he knew how to kick. To fix the kicking problem of Week 1, the Jets signed kicker Jay Feely to replace Nugent while he is out. Hopefully Feely can stay healthy so the Jets don't have another kicking nightmare like they did in Miami. But if you saw Feely's first field goal attempt against the Patriots in Week 2, it looks like the Jets' kicking woes will continue.
Our own soccer team is looking to shine in their 2008 season, but can they battle through injuries in order to make it to the playoff this year? I was there to report.
Well, it's the fall season again, and you know what that means. The men's soccer team is back in action. Coming off of a 7-10 record last year, the men's team hopes to improve their season this year with returning stars and new talent.
Riders' men's soccer team has been around as long as the university itself, and we are currently an NCAA Division I team. The Broncs wrapped up their preseason tournaments this year with a 1-3 record. For the past 2 seasons, they have suffered from a rash of injuries, which they are actively trying to recover from. The team looks to open its season up with a win against Monmouth University. Head coach Russ Fager had this to say.
The outcome's important for sure, but I think we're looking for a lot more than just a win or a loss in this game. We're looking to get everybody back healthy, get them all fit, get them some time on the field, and really start getting ourselves ready for the conference games.
The team managed to have 3 of their injured players return, including co-captain Evan Loupshire, in their game against Monmouth this past Sunday. The game remained scoreless throughout the first half, and the only goals were scored early on in the second half. Rider lost 2-0 to Monmouth, but the players are not discouraged.
Positives, we came out hard in the first half. We had the enthusiasm, we had the heart. Just got to start getting through that 15 minutes of halftime, bringing it to the second half.
First half, we were right with them. I think we might have outplayed them at some points. Just got to keep going. We're getting players back every week. We'll be all right.
From what the coaches and players are saying, Rider University looks to have a good season. From Monmouth University, West Long Branch, I'm Patty Wittenberg.
The men's team plays twice this weekend, first away at Lafayette on Thursday, September 18th, then at home versus Delaware on Sunday, September 21st.
In less than a month, another season of the National Hockey League will commence. The Detroit Red Wings will be looking to defend their 4th Stanley Cup championship in 11 years, while other teams like the Montreal Canadiens will be celebrating their centennial year. In honor of their 100th anniversary, the Canadiens will be sending Patrick Roy's number 33 jersey to the historic Raptors prior to their November 22nd game versus the Boston Bruins. Roy played his first 11 seasons in the NHL with the Canadiens, winning 2 Stanley Cups in 1986, his rookie season, and again in 1993 against Wayne Gretzky's Los Angeles Kings. Roy was traded to the Colorado Avalanche following an 11-1 blowout loss on December 2, 1995, against the Red Wings when he let in 9 goals on 26 shots and told team president Ronald Corey, quote, "This is my last game in Montreal." Roy and the Avs went on to win 2 cups together in 1996 and 2001. Roy retired in 2003 and was inducted into the NHL Hall of Fame in 2006. He is the winningest goalie in NHL history with a record of 551 wins, 315 losses, and 131 ties during his 19-year career.
Sean Rainey has been following the team during their camp and has a recap of what the players must go through to be ready for the next season.
With the baseball season winding down and football already underway, the latest hockey season is just around the corner. After the first full week of classes, the Rider hockey team gathers at the track to begin their annual training camp run by their personal strength conditioning coach, DJ Nork. DJ, as he is referred to by the players, elaborate on the importance of the camp.
It develops the strength, flexibility, and cardiovascular endurance for the players.
The players know the importance to being physically in shape prior to camp and told me what they do in the off-season to achieve this.
I guess in the off-season I'm just basically trying to stay in shape, not trying to be too lazy and lay around the house and eat. I try and get on the ice probably about 1 or 2 times a week and get to the gym about 1 or 2 times a week, just so when we get back to training camp I'm in good enough shape where I can keep up.
Definitely got to run, you got to stay in shape in the off-season, you know. You try and stay away from eating too many unhealthy foods. But it's definitely important to come back into camp in good shape so you can get off to a good start in the season.
Camp is more than just a social gathering for the players. DJ puts them through rigorous tests from day one.
Well, first night you just jump right into it. I mean, there's no easing into it. We jump right into the 2-mile right away. I do 2-mile run, test us on that. Then we do the 40, do sit-ups, push-ups. Then we just go through a bunch of like plyometrics. He does a bunch of conditioning workouts just to get us ready before we hit the ice a week later.
With the success of making it to the playoffs last season and the influx of new talent, the team expects big things from this season, a championship.
Playoffs are at our home ice this year, and making it deeper into the playoffs. We got a pretty tough schedule, but I'm confident in our team going all the way.
You gotta stay tuned and watch. I think we're gonna be, if I had to guess, I'd say we're gonna be the top 3 team in the league. Because I really believe in the talent that we have. I mean, this is supposed to be the year. We got a lot of our top guns are in the upperclassmen of the year, so this is the year.
For the Rider Sports Corner, this has been Sean Rainey.
The Bronx opened their season against CW Post on Friday, September 26th at 8:30 at Locks Ice Center. Admission is free for all students. Rider's other hockey team, the girls field hockey, took on Appalachian State at Westchester University this past weekend. Our own Kelly Dixon traveled to WCU and has the story of the girls that day.
Hey guys, I'm here at the Westchester University Field in Westchester, Pennsylvania, where the Rider University Field Hockey team is gearing up to play the girls of Appalachian State in their 4th game of the season. With a current record of 0-3, I asked Coach Lori Husong about her outlook for the rest of the season.
At the start of the season, we feel like we have a very strong team. We've scheduled some really tough competition in the beginning of the season, and despite our 0-3 record, we have played very well in the first three games. Well, actually, the first 2 games. Colgate, we came out a little bit flat, and they took it right to us. But when we played Hofstra and Villanova, those are 2 fully funded programs that we're playing against and competing with, and I think we held our own with them and showed that we can be successful.
The girls will revisit Westchester's Field this Wednesday, September 16th for their game against the Rams. I had the chance to talk to the team captains about whether or not this extra practice on the opponent's field would serve as an advantage.
I definitely think it'll help because at home we don't have a turf field. So here, anytime we can play on turf at any field, any location, it's going to help us get our passing game going, and it's going to help us get our sticks on the ball a lot better and move a lot quicker.
I think we have a really good shot against Westchester. That's always a tough game. Like every year since I've been here, it's back and forth. we won one year, we lost one year, but they're always a good competition for us. But I really think that as long as we're playing together and we're hungry to score goals, that we'll come out on top.
Top scorer for the day was Diana Celebra with 2 goals. Both scored in the first half, assisted by freshman Virginia Egasquiza and senior Mandy Hunter. They came out strong in the second half with a goal by senior Trisha Crotty. Things heated up as Appalachian State scored a penalty shot to make the score 3-2. But the Broncs maintained their lead with great offensive and defensive play. And it was a hot one today, not only outside but also on the field. With a final score of 3-2, Rider won its first game of the season. The girls have some home games coming up, but they wanted to tell you about that themselves.
Hey Rider, please come out and support our first home game, September 26th versus Radford. We better see you there. Go Rider!
For Rider Sports Corner, this has been Kelly Dixon.
The girls will be home on Friday, September 26th when they take on Radford. The game time is set for 4 p.m.
Over this past weekend, the men's golf team was at the Rutgers Invitational where they placed 20th out of 24 teams. Head coach Bob Wartenby said his team looked better on Sunday, however their short game was a little bit of a struggle. Sophomore Brian Acrosini was the best golfer for Rider on Sunday by shooting a 70 that was 1 under par for the round. Acrosini finished 53rd overall. Senior Eric Lafante from Colts Neck was the best overall golfer for Rider in the Invitational by placing 45th. The golf team will be at the Colgate Invitational from September 20th through the 21st.
The women's soccer team played in the Clarendon Inn Classic in Greenlee, Colorado, where they were defeated 3-1 by the University of North Florida. Senior Kayla Devlin scored the lone goal for Rider with 1 minute 15 seconds remaining in the game. Rider was outshot in the contest 17-10, and head coach Drayson Hounsome said the team didn't bring their A-game against UNF. The Broncs will need to bring their A-game later this week when they take on Burlington.
The New York Mets have announced interest in purchasing a Major League Soccer club by 2011 to coincide with the MLS's plan to increase the number of games scheduled for their season in that same year. The minimum cost of an expansion team for the MLS will be around $40 million, according to an MLS spokesperson. Though New York already has an MLS team in the New York Red Bulls, owned by Red Bull of Austria, the general consensus is that a second New York team will give the Red Bulls a regional rivalry that will help increase the popularity of soccer in America's biggest media market. The Mets owner Fred Wilpon wouldn't be the first to expand his influence into the MLS. Robert Kraft, owner of the New England Patriots of the NFL, also owns the New England Revolution. Now it's time for Mike and Mark to debate the top issues in sports. Guys, what are the top stories our viewers will hear today?
Thanks, Tom. Well, we've got 5 national sports stories and 4 regional stories of the Rider tie. So, Mark, what is our first topic?
Well, Mike, our first segment is will Rutgers, who are currently 0-2 and looked absolutely terrible in their nationally televised game last week, get 5 wins this season?
Honestly, no. I really don't think that Rutgers will get 5 wins. I mean, if you look at their upcoming schedule, it's going to be very tough. I mean, they have 2 ranked opponents, and the other ones, even though they aren't ranked, I still think are going to give them too much of a challenge.
Yeah, I mean, they got West Virginia, who's 25th in the country, and they also have University of Southern Florida, who's 19th. And I still think that they're going to get a problem from Cincinnati, who gave them a problem 2 years ago after they beat Louisville. I definitely think Pittsburgh, which they have to play in their house, will give them a problem as well. And I definitely think Louisville's got it in the bag as of now. The only 2 teams that I can see Rutgers just absolutely either winning or, you know, having a good game against would be Army and Navy.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that.
Time to move on. The New England Patriots lost Tom Brady for the season in Week 1. Matt Castle, who hadn't started a game since high school, made his first start against the Jets in a Week 2 victory. With Castle as the starting quarterback, are the Pats still a Super Bowl caliber team?
No, they're not even going to make it to the playoffs, and here's why. They're going to lose San Diego, Denver, lose to Indianapolis. They will lose their next game to the Jets, twice to the Bills, Pittsburgh, Oakland, Arizona. They're going to lose those games, go 7-9.
I'm going to have to disagree with you. I definitely think that it's going to be a rough season. It's going to be slow scoring, but I definitely think with the Patriots' defense, they should be able to hold off some of those offenses. That they didn't lose any big names on their defense. So as long as their defense can stay up to par, they really shouldn't have an issue with holding teams back. As for offense goes, they're playing Miami, who they should put a ton of points on. I have no doubt about that, because Pennington, I just do not have faith in him at all. San Francisco, I don't think San Francisco's that great. Even when they played Seattle, they tied. and they didn't even show that much. So I definitely think that they're going to make the playoffs. I give them like a 10-6 record.
Oh, I have to agree. I mean, it's only week 3. We'll see how the Pats fare against tougher teams they'll face later in the season. Francisco Rodriguez recently got his 58th save to become the all-time leader of saves in a single season, passing Bobby Thigpen, in what is obviously a great individual effort on his part. But even though K-Rod is an exceptional athlete, is this record based on his effort or the fact that the Angels, even though they have the best record in baseball, have a tendency to play low-scoring, close games?
See, I definitely think it has nothing to do with close-scoring games. I mean, this guy is really talented. Obviously, he's shown it. I don't think score has anything to do with it. That's like saying the quarterback who wins a game, even though the score was close, that's the reason he won. That's absolutely not the case. I mean, in the 64 innings he's pitched this season, he has 74 Ks compared to only 32 walks. And as a closer, I think those are fantastic stats, and I don't want to take anything away from him because I definitely think he's got the talent.
Well, I really can't argue with you. You're absolutely right. It was a great individual effort, and I know they do tend to play in low-scoring games, but you can't take anything away. It's a great individual effort.
Let's just see if the Angels do well against the Rays in the playoffs, who seem to have had their numbers this season. With the season grinding down for Major League Baseball and teams like the Angels already making the playoffs, the hunt for the wild card spots is getting tighter and tighter. One of the teams still in contention for the NL wild card is the Houston Astros. The Astros have a history of keeping the playoff hunt interesting, clinching a playoff berth on the final regular season game in 2004 and 2005, and just being eliminated in their final game in 2006. Can the Astros edge out the Brewers or the Phillies to clinch a berth?
Yes, I actually think that they can, because if you look at their upcoming schedule, they're playing 3 teams that are essentially out of the playoff run in Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and Atlanta, and they're also playing Florida, who are 6 games behind. And I honestly think they can do it because the Brewers and Phils, they have a little bit of a harder schedule coming up.
I'm going to agree with you. The only thing that I think they need to step on if they want to take that spot is they got to do a little bit better on the road. The Phillies and the Brewers are a little bit above 500 on the road. As for the Astros, who are 37-38 record on the road compared to a 43-31 home record, and they have a 6-game road trip coming up between, as you said, Florida and Pitt. So I definitely think that they really need to step up the road wins in order to continue on and get that wild card spot before the Phillies and the Brewers.
Well, with the Phillies taking a 4-game sweep of the Brewers to have a shared lead in the wild card, it will definitely be an interesting 2 weeks. Let's turn our attention to some football. The Giants are 2-0, Eagles 1-1 after a heart-wrenching loss to the Cowboys, and the Jets are 1-1. Of these 3 teams, which do you see making it to the playoffs and advancing the furthest?
As much as it hurts me, I'm going to have to say the Eagles. Even after watching their game last night with the Cowboys, I mean, there were some bad breaks for the Eagles that was out of their control. There were 2 face mask calls that weren't even made, which would have put the Eagles in better field position, and also they wouldn't have had to punt, which would have changed the score a little bit. And I definitely think the Eagles' defense looked pretty sharp. Obviously, there were some big break plays with T.O., but other than that, I definitely think the Eagles are a step ahead of the Giants, especially because the Giants just don't look as sharp as I thought they would, especially since they played the Redskins and they only won, I believe, 16-7. So I definitely think the Giants aren't that sharp, and the Jets, I don't think they need to worry about.
All right, well, you and I can both agree that Jets aren't going to make the playoffs.
Right.
And I would actually say, too, the Eagles. I mean, if you look between the Eagles and Giants, they both have similar schedules. And the Giants, they didn't prove much to me. Yes, anybody can blow out St. Louis, but to only put up 17-6 against the Redskins, it's not enough. No. I think we can agree that it's a long season and anything can happen. It's only week 3. Now to the frozen pond. The NHL season will be underway in a month, but our Rider team is beginning exhibition play this week. The Bronx finished 6th place last year and lost in their first playoff game against Temple. Some of the players believe they have a shot at the championship this season.
I think they have a shot at the playoffs. I'm not going to go as far to say the championship quite yet. They've lost their captain, and they only have 1 returning goalie. There's 2 others behind them, but they're both rookies. So I think that these younger kids coming in are going to have to step up and really fill the shoes. They're really going to have to do a good job learning the system and playing as hard as the veterans have before they left. So I definitely think they're playoff caliber. Just by the way I saw them last year, I definitely think they have enough returning guys to make the playoffs. I just don't know about a championship quite yet.
Talking about losing guys, they lost their team captain, Mike Carlucci, so that's got to be a huge hit to the morale.
Right.
So I would actually say, too, I don't think they'll go deep, but I think they might make the playoffs.
Right. So staying with Rider, the men's cross-country team's captain, Matt Dahl, was asked where his team would be in November. He said they would be in a contention with other big schools like Iona, who was second in the nation last year. Fair assessment or not?
I have to say no on this one, because if you look, their first game, the men were 7 out of 16, and the second one, they were 7 out of 10. And honestly, I don't think that's enough to keep up with the team that was second. So they only have 2 more before the MAC championships start, and I honestly don't think they can make it.
I'm going to have to agree with you. I noticed that most of the runners in these tournaments are mostly in the middle of the pack. You don't have guys finishing more above 40th place or up, except for the Christian Gonzalez, the sophomore, who is doing fantastic and was 11 out of 99 runners. So I definitely think he's the leader, but they need to pick it up a little bit.
All right, let's kick that subject down. Let's kick a goal. The Rider men's soccer team is trying to do some new things this year. How many wins do you think they will get, and will they be a better team than last year?
I honestly don't think they're going to change that much from last year. I mean, they were 7-10 with 2 ties, and they started this year off the same as they did last year, the 1-4. And as I saw from last year's statistics, against conference opponents, they were a little shaky, which the conference opponents this season aren't until towards the end. Right now they're dealing with non-conference play, but still I think they're going to have a problem.
All right, and I definitely agree with you on the conference opponents, because right now they're 1-4. They're in a huge hole, and if they can't get out of this funk, once they get to those conference opponents, I really don't think they're going to have a chance to go very far.
That is all we have for this week of M&M. Patty and Tom, back to you guys.
Thanks, Mark and Mike. Well, that's all the time we have. I'm Tom Malachi.
And I'm Patty Wittenberg. Have a great week.